dear students, nice to meet you in another session of grammar. So we've discussed simple, complex and compound in detail. Now we'll focus on certain elements, namely non-finite forms, infinitives, gerunds, participles, and we'll do some exercises on these. So I hope you remember all the points we've discussed regarding infinitives, participles and gerunds. Now we've got a set of questions and you are required to underline the gerunds in those sentences. The answers are given in red. Look at the sentences. Boys love playing cricket. So playing, that is the gerund. I love eating ice cream. So eating, that's your gerund. Jessie enjoys bothering others. So bothering, that is your gerund. Remember, gerund is a verbal noun, verb plus ing form, and it functions as a noun. Painting is an interesting hobby. Here it occurs as a subject. Painting is your gerund. Dancing gives me joy. So again a subject, dancing is your gerund. We move on to task 2. Use the gerundial form of the verb in the brackets and fill in the blanks. Dash is good for health. The given noun is exercise. So you are converting it into a gerund. So as I told you, gerund is a verbal noun. So exercise, so you add ing to it, so it is exercising, the act of exercising. So exercising is good for health. Dash a kite is fun. So the given verb here is fly. So flying a kite is fun, verb plus ing functioning as a noun. Dash is my favorite hobby, shop. So you add ing, shopping, mind you double P, mind the spelling here. So shopping is my favorite hobby. It is a gerund. My friend waited for the dash, meet. So the verb within the bracket is meet, or here it functions as a noun. So it is meet plus ing, meeting. My friend waited for the meeting. Gerund, verbal noun. Huckleberry Finn was responsible for dash, signal. So you add ing to it, again double L, signaling. So here it is a gerund. Task 3, fill in the blanks with the correct infinitives. So infinitives, remember you got bare infinitives or 2 plus verb, which is the to infinitive. Now let us look at the sentences. Deva forgot dash the letter. So naturally it is posting. So Deva forgot to post the letter. And infinitival form, 2 plus verb, so to post the letter. The doctor advised the patient dash his medicines without fail. So normally doctors ask us to take the medicines. That is the answer. The doctor advised the patient to take his medicines without fail. Rajesh went to the airport to dash his friend. So maybe to receive his friend, to meet his friend, to give him a send-off, whatever it is. So Rajesh went to the airport to meet his friend. The bear climbed up the tree, dash the honey. So maybe to drink the honey, to taste the honey. So that is your infinitival form. The boys went to the forest, dash the birds. So maybe to see the birds, to catch the birds, to watch the birds. Whatever it is, that is the infinitival form. I tried hard, dash both ends meet. So to make both ends meet. To make is your infinitive. Now next part, the archaeologists are trying dash the ruins of Keeladi. So to excavate, they are trying to dig it out. So to excavate the ruins of Keeladi. Solar energy is used dash electricity. So it is used to generate, to produce electricity. Dash concession, you have to apply well in advance. So to avail of concession, when should you apply? You must apply beforehand. So to avail of concession, you have to apply well in advance. We have plans dash to London during summer vacation. So normally we go to a foreign country. So we have plans to go to London. We are visiting the city of London. Then task 4, combine each of the following pairs of sentences using participles. An example has been done for you. I didn't know what to do. I phoned the police. So you're combining it with the ing form. Not knowing what to do, verb plus ing, know plus ing. Not knowing what to do, I phoned the police. Now look at the exercise, the sentences. The baby cried, she was feeling sleepy. So why did the baby cry? Feeling sleepy, the baby cried. Feel plus ing. He lived alone, he had forgotten everybody. So he lived alone. So living alone, he had forgotten everybody. So live plus ing. She walked out, she was smiling. So how was her position when she walked out? How was her temperament? Smiling, she walked out. So that is your verb plus ing form. The child says he needs attention. He shouts loudly. So needing attention, the child shouts loudly. I threw the pen, it was broken. So mind you, here it is the past participle. Now remember, verb plus ing in the earlier sentences, we considered the present participles. Now it is going to be the past participle. Break, broke, broken. So I threw the pen, it was broken. I threw the broken pen. His coat is tattered, it needs mending. So the tattered coat needs mending, or being tattered, the coat needs mending. I heard the noise, I turned around. So hearing the noise, I turned around. He was dissatisfied, he quit his job. So you add being here. Being dissatisfied, he quit his job. The politician entered the campus. He was accompanied by many comrades. So being accompanied by many comrades, the politician entered the campus. The girl entered the room. She was singing a song. So singing a song, the girl entered the room. Now we move on to articles. So we've discussed the three non-finite forms, gerunds, infinitives and participles. Now we move on to articles. Complete the following exercise using a, and, the or zero article. In the underlined space where appropriate, change capital letters to lowercase letters at the beginning of a sentence if necessary, or change the lowercase into the capital, because in the beginning always you have a capital letter. Now look at the exercise. I will give you the answer simultaneously. According to dash National Weather Report, it's a particular report. So according to the National Weather Report, cyclones are winds circulating dash counterclockwise. So circulating, you cannot have a or an or the. So zero article there. The winds circulating counterclockwise in dash northern hemisphere. So in the northern hemisphere, the particular area, and clockwise in the dash southern hemisphere. So clockwise in the southern hemisphere. Cyclones are usually accompanied by dash stormy weather. So the condition of the weather, a stormy weather. What type of weather? A stormy weather. Tornadoes and hurricanes are types of cyclones. Dash hurricane is dash cyclone that forms over. So we will stop here, go back to the sentence, dash hurricane. So we are defining hurricane. So a hurricane is, what is it? A cyclone. So again the article a cyclone that forms over dash tropical oceans and seas. That forms over tropical oceans and seas. So an article is not needed. If at all you require it, you can have the. That forms over the tropical oceans and seas. Actually it is not needed at all. You don't need any article there for blank 8. Then we proceed further. The hurricane rotates in dash shape of dash oval or a circle. So the hurricane rotates in the shape of an oval. Remember O, the vowel sound there. So an oval or a circle. Dash Hurricane Andrew. So Hurricane Andrew, it's a proper noun, it's the name of a cyclone. So we don't need an article there, which hit dash coast of Louisiana and southern Florida in August 1992. So it hit the coast. The article you need here is the. Caused dash extreme devastation. So before extreme, caused an extreme, or it's not at all needed, caused extreme devastation. Without the article it gives you complete sense. Caused extreme devastation. It was one of dash most devastating hurricanes. So remember, whenever you use the superlative degree, you have the definite article before the superlative degree. So most devastating. So the most devastating hurricanes ever to hit dash US. Ever to hit the US. So the definite article the is needed before the country's name here. The United States of America. So the US. 14 people died of dash Andrews effect. So you don't need an article here. 14 people died of Andrews effect. Now we move on to the next task. Complete the following sentences using appropriate determiners. So only dash people can afford to buy a flat in Chennai. So only few people can afford to buy a flat in Chennai, or only a few people can afford to buy a flat in Chennai. So a few is some. Now few is not many, not at all, very, very rare. So decide and then give the answer. Both are correct. Only a few people or only few people. Now she earns dash less that she could not make a decent living. So she earns so less, or she earns so little that she could not make a decent living. Dash the information that she gave proved false. So all the information she gave proved false. All is your determiner. How dash sugar do you want? So sugar, how much sugar? You cannot say many because it is uncountable. You can only measure it. So how much sugar do you want? Maybe 1 teaspoonful or 2 teaspoonfuls and so on. I am very tired today as I had dash guests today. So I had many guests today. So I am very tired. Dash of my students have become doctors. So many of my students have become doctors. Dash do I know about his personal life, or dash I know about his personal life. Little do I know about his personal life. That means I do not know anything about his personal life. It gives you the negative meaning. So little do I know, I do not know at all. How dash pages did you read? So how many pages? So you can count the pages, 20 pages, 30 pages and so on. So how many pages did you read? The fertilizer used these days spoils the soil. So the fertilizer used these days spoils the soil. Here you have the article, the fertilizer. During my student life, I used to give dash trouble to my teachers. So I used to give much trouble to my teachers. Used to give, therefore you use much trouble. Much, again, trouble is an abstract quality. So you cannot number it or count it. So you say much trouble. So you have to read the sentence carefully, determine the context and then fix your answer. Having discussed the various types, simple, compound, complex, and then the non-finite forms of verbs, that is gerunds, infinitives and participles, we will just touch upon the if clause because this is an essential part of your complex sentences, and then we shall move on to degrees of comparison. Now considering if clause, all of us know that there are 3 types. I will just give you some examples and I will give you a few sentences wherein you combine using the if clause, because these are 2-mark questions. So it is a sort of revision for you. So now let us discuss the 3 types of if clauses in brief. Here are some sentences explaining the 3 types of if clauses. So we will have a quick brush up of what we have learnt earlier. Now look at this sentence. If you drop glass, it breaks. So drop is of the simple present. Again breaks is of the simple present. So you have simple present in the if clause and you have simple present in the main clause. This is a special feature of type 1. Now if you walk fast, you will catch the bus. So again walk is of the simple present. Will catch. So here you use will. Now will catch is your verb, the usage of will. So this is the feature of type 1. We move on to type 2. If Ram worked hard, now type 1 is like cause and effect. Now type 2, if Ram worked hard, he would score a centum. So worked is of the past tense. So what do you have here? Would score. So would, again, in the first type you had will and here present tense. In the second type you have past tense in the if clause and would in the main clause. If I were a millionaire, so again past tense, I would donate. So again you have would in your main clause. Remember students, so in type 1 you got present tense of the verb in the if clause and will in the main clause, or present tense in both. In type 2 you have past tense in the if clause and would plus root form of the verb in the main clause, or the simple past here and again would donate. If I were a millionaire, you just imagine yourself to be a millionaire. If I were a bird, I would fly. You cannot be a bird, but if I were a bird. Now look at this third type. If you had warned me, I would not have entered the room. So, I am not supposed to go there. I did not know it. If you had warned me, I would not have gone there. So, had warned. This is of the past perfect tense. So, in your if clause, you have the past perfect tense. Now, would not have gone, entered, would not have gone or would not have entered. This is of the future perfect. This is very simple. So, just remember that in the third type, you have past perfect in the if clause and future perfect in the main clause. You just imagine the other situation. You did not warn me, I entered the room. Suppose you had warned me. If you had warned me, I would not have entered the room. We will just analyze the third type alone in detail. Now, here are some examples. Now, these are 2 mark questions. You have to combine the sentences using the if clause. Now, third type. Why do I say third type? See here, both the activities have already occurred. They are over. They are of the past tense. So, now we think of the other possibility. Suppose the other thing had happened. This did not take place, but the other situation had arisen. So, now just look at the sentences. The dog did not bark. The inmates did not sense the danger. So, if the dog, you have not here in the question, do not include not here. If the dog, now this is if clause, so you must use the past perfect tense. If the dog had barked. The inmates did not sense the danger in the question. So, the inmates. Now, here we should use the future perfect tense. You have not here. So, do not include not in your answer. The inmates would have sensed the danger. So, this did not happen. So, this was the result. If the dog had barked, the inmates would have sensed the danger. Now, look at this sentence. I did not have money. So, if I had money. Why do I use 2 hads here? Now, this is for the past perfect tense. If I had money. This had is owning money, possessing money, the verb here. So, this have gets converted into had. If I had money, I could have helped you. Future perfect. So, would have helped you or could have helped you. Now, look at this sentence. The road was dark. Here was is a be form of verb. So, if the road, again past perfect, had, I do not have the negative here. So, I am thinking of the other situation. So, I will bring in the negative word not here. This is a be form of verb. So, I use been. If the road had not been dark. Now, this is the main clause. I should bring in the future perfect tense. I would not have lost my way. There would have been lights and I would not have lost my way. So, remember these are the 3 complicated models of the if clause. That is why I have revised these. So, please pay attention. The dog did not bark. The inmates did not sense the danger. So, what are the changes that you have done? If you have negative here, do not include it here because you are giving the opposite, the other situation. So, past perfect in the if clause and future perfect in the main clause. Now, in this sentence, I did not have money, I did not possess money, I did not own money. So, when you convert it into the past perfect, you get had again. Now, this had is for the tense and this is for the ownership. Then this remains the same. Could not, remove not, could have helped you. Then the third part here, because of the presence of was, I have introduced been here. So, again past perfect, had not been. I do not have not here. So, I include not in my answer because this is of the other situation. So, keep all these rules in mind and do the transformation well, and definitely you will score the 2 marks for these answers. In Unit 5, we have this section, degrees of comparison. You have been learning this right from 6th standard. So, I will just very quickly brush up your memory. Now we know that there are three forms: positive, comparative and superlative. Now positive is stating it as it is or comparing between two similar things. Comparative is one is compared individually with the rest. One by one we take things and compare. And superlative is one is compared with all the rest. Now the basic form of the adjective that comes under the positive degree. So wise, wiser, wisest. So these are for short adjectives or one syllable adjectives. Dark, darker, darkest. Now hot, hotter, hottest. There is a change in the spelling. So the last word gets doubled. Last letter gets doubled. Then we move on to bigger adjectives, that is adjectives with more than two syllables. Popular, more popular, most popular. Intelligent, more intelligent, most intelligent. And you have some irregular adjectives: good, better, best, because they are totally different in their forms. No ER or EST. Then bad, worse, worst. Much, more, most. Little, less, least. Now remember that whenever you write the adjective in the superlative form, it should be preceded by the. Ram is the most intelligent boy in the class. Some Mr. X is the most popular person in the city. So remember, this could be asked under error spotting also. So when there is transformation, degrees of comparison questions from this section can come under 2 marks, and when you are going to fill in the blanks with the correct form of the adjective, you get it under the 1 mark session. So we will discuss more of these soon. We move on to the transformation section. Now look at this sentence. Basically there are 3 types which we shall be discussing now. Veena is the most hardworking girl in the class. So remember, I have included the before the superlative form. Now Veena is the most hardworking girl in the class. Veena, we compare Veena with all the other classmates. Now these words tell us that this is of the superlative form. The most hardworking, more hardworking, most hardworking. So the most hardworking girl. So this is superlative. Now this is the basic form. Now how do we convert this into the other 2 forms, that is positive and comparative. Now when I get this type of structure, my positive starts with the words no other. So no other girl in the class is as hardworking as Veena. So she is the only hardworking girl or the most hardworking girl in the class. So nobody else matches her. So no other girl in the class is as hardworking as Veena. So no other, and you have as and as here. These are the features of the positive degree. Now remember, simultaneously you just focus on error spotting also. They would give you another sentence saying no other girls in the class is as hardworking. So you look at no other, you look at as and think it's right. But here no other, it is singular. So you should have only girl and not girls. So that is one type of question you will get under error spotting. So no other girl in the class is as hardworking as Veena, positive. Then comparative, Veena is, now remember, hardworking, more hardworking, most hardworking. So I should bring in more hardworking for the comparative degree. Veena is more hardworking than any other girl in the class. So this is the answer in the comparative form. Veena is more hardworking. The feature here is more plus adjective and than. Okay, than, and these words any other. So you had no other in the positive and you have than any other in the comparative. This is the basic type, type 1. We will try one more sentence of this form. Here I have given you a sentence of the positive form. No other boy in the class is as clever as Ramesh. So this is positive. Now see, I have given you a sentence of the positive form. No other boy in the class is as clever as Ramesh. So as plus basic form of the adjective plus as. So this is the feature of the positive degree. Now I am going to change it into the comparative form. So Ramesh is, now clever, cleverer, cleverest. So, cleverer than any other boy, again singular, in the class. So, Ramesh is cleverer than any other boy in the class. Comparative form, than, then, any other, and singular, boy. Then superlative form, Ramesh is the cleverest boy in the class. It's not clear. So, for all the people in the class, so Ramesh is the cleverest boy in the class. So, this is how you should transform the sentences in the basic type, type 1. We will move on to types 2 and 3 now. Now, we move on to type 2. Look at this sentence. Shekhar is one of the richest men in the city. Now, remember children, again under error spotting, they will give you another wrong word here. They would say Shekhar is one of the richest man in the city. You would look at Shekhar, you would look at man and think that it is right. No, Shekhar is one of the richest men in the city. So, perhaps some 50 men are very rich in the city and Shekhar is one among them. Therefore, richest men. Now, coming back to the transformation, one of the superlative form, rich, richer, richest. So, definitely this is of the superlative degree. Now, I am going to change it into the positive degree. Now, Shekhar is one of the richest men in the city. So, when I get one of, I get very few in my positive degree. Very few, so it's plural. So, men, very few men in the city are as rich as or so rich as Shekhar. So, very few men in the city are as rich as Shekhar. So, this is positive. So, not many, only very few. Now, we move on to the comparative form. Shekhar is richer than most other or many other. Most other or many other men in the city. So, in case you get confused with any and many, avoid this and use most other. Shekhar is richer than most other men in the city. So, this is of the comparative form. I hope you will try many more such exercises and become very thorough with the structure and transformation, which will enable you to score very high marks in your public examination. Thank you, students.